Hello chess lovers, Suren here, and in this video I would like to share with you an interesting game played in 1972 between Russian international master Mark Dvoretsky and a chess player named Pohla. Although Mark Dvoretsky was not very strong in competitive chess, but he became renowned as a prolific writer, endgame theorist and chess trainer. And now, without further ado, let's go for our game and see what happened on the board. Dvoretsky opened up with e4 and Pohla responded with Sicilian defense c5, knight f3, d6, bishop b5 check. Dvoretsky is choosing the Moscow variation and we have knight d7. Another popular alternatives are bishop d7 or knight c6, but in our game we have knight d7. Here comes d4, c takes d4, queen takes d4, knight f6, bishop g5, e6, knight c3, bishop e7, white castles queen side, black castles king side. We have opposite side castlings and this is going to be a very sharp game. Now comes rook e1, queen a5, bishop takes d7, bishop takes d7 and bishop takes f6. White is using the vulnerability of this d file and is forcing black to recapture with the g pawn. Otherwise, if you move like bishop takes f6, then white can play e5, and if bishop d8, then it takes d6. Yes, this can be very unpleasant for black. That's why after bishop takes f6, we have g takes f6. White managed to weaken black's king side, and now let's see how is white going to exploit those weaknesses. Now comes e5, f takes e5, and knight takes e5. The idea of knight takes e5 is that now if d takes e5, then white can announce a check from g4, and if king h8, then rook takes d7. If bishop f6, then white can either play queen h5 or queen f3, and white has a very dangerous attack. Let's go back. In our game after knight takes e5, as the bishop on d7 is hanging, black played rook d8. Protected the bishop and created an escaping route for his king. In here, not managing to find the winning combination, Dvoretsky captured on d7. And now first let's quickly cover the game and then we will come back to this position and we'll cover the winning line in detail. Here Dvoretsky captured on d7, we have rook takes d7 and knight e4. Although rook e3 could have been stronger, if bishop g5 then f4, this is a very complex line which Dvoretsky overlooked, although as I've already mentioned, this could have given him great chances. Black pieces are not cooperating together and black king is vulnerable. But in our game after rook takes d7, we have knight e4, h6. Instead of h6, capturing on h2 could have allowed black to equalize the game. And yes, in this line, black is actually managing to get great chances of equalizing the game. Black is holding, but after knight e4, we have a passive looking h6 move. Black is freeing this h7 square for the king. We have rook e3, king h7, rook f3, rook f8, king b1. Finally, white is protecting the pawn on a2. We have b6. Queen e3. White is still looking for weaknesses in black's camp and bishop g5, after which black's position collapses. Instead of bishop g5, it was better to play queen h5. Bringing the queen on the king's side can be very useful. This queen can help to organize the defense. But in our game after queen e3, we have bishop g5 and now comes queen d3. Already there can be some very nasty discovered checks. That's why black played f5, but this is creating more weaknesses. We have knight takes g5 check, h takes g5 and rook h3 check, king g7, queen e3. With double threats we have f4 and queen takes e6, queen f5, queen h6 check, king f7, and after rook takes d6, black resigned. Yes, white has two extra pawns. And looks like that there is no chance to save this position. That's why after rook takes d6, we have a resignation. But now let's go back to our critical position where after rook d8, Dvoretsky captured on d7. Here is what Dvoretsky writes. Actually, Dvoretsky was unhappy with his knight d7 move, after which he felt that black still had good chances. Despite examining many dangerous possibilities, Dvoretsky gives many of them in the book, he was unable to find any strengthening of his play. So he showed this position to Mikhail Tal, and here is what Dvoretsky writes. I said, can you imagine such a dangerous position and no winning combination? Tal exclaimed, there is no combination? No way! I quit chess if that is so. He thought for just a few seconds and demonstrated the solution. Let's see how the winning line goes. Actually, you can also pause the video and try to find the winning line for white. Ready? Now let's see how it goes. In order to win the game, white should first announce a check from g4. Here king h8 can't be played because of this checkmate. That's why black is forced to play king f8, after which white goes for a devastating knight sacrifice on f7. King takes f7 and rook d5, another sparkling move. This cuts off the fifth rank. And now if he takes d5, then the queen is joining the attack from the fifth rank. If king f8, then queen h6 check. Here king f7 can be met with queen takes h7 check, or if king g8, then this time simply rook takes e7. That's why after queen h6 check, black should play king e8, but this time queen f6 is coming. If bishop e6, then queen takes e6. If queen c7, then knight takes d5 is coming, and yes, black's position is totally lost. Now if king f8, then this time knight takes e7 is coming, and yes, there is no way to save this position for black. Let's have a quick look, one of the possible mating lines. A very beautiful line, I think, and actually Tal's combinational talent is striking. Out of many tempting continuations, he intuitively chose a move that was far from obvious and was the only correct one. Interestingly, the story goes further. In 2007, during a training session, Dvoretsky showed the same position to David Navarra, and Navarra managed to find the winning line as quickly as Mikhail Tal. But the dramatic thing is that 16 years later, Dvoretsky again faced this position, this time against the Norwegian player Qxd4. While waiting for black to move, he began to compose an article in his mind, explaining how Tal had helped him to win in this position after rook d8. But in here, instead of rook fd8, this time Dvoretsky's opponent played bishop c6, and not managing to find the winning line, Dvoretsky played rook d3, and after d takes e5, rook takes e5, queen b4 was played, black successfully covered the fourth rank, and soon Dvoretsky lost the game. Actually, after bishop c6, the winning move was knight takes c6, and if b takes c6, then only now rook d3, and this gives white a devastating attacking chance. Once again, the story proves how sharp were Mikhail Tal's tactical abilities. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, give the thumbs up. For more games, consider subscribing to my channel. Also press the bell button to get notified about new uploads. I will see you in my next video.